Okay, so moving on to the upper body. So I think we should look at the chest. Now I don't anticipate this being too difficult. We've done a lot of the hard work on the body control and the legs. The upper body is generally a bit quicker, but let's see what happens. And plus we did a lot of work on the chest in the blocking. But what I look for now is opportunities to loosen the chest and just see if we can do anything more with the squash and stretch. So immediately I think we should look at the top of the leap. And maybe I can tuck him further in so we get more of a squash, more of a ball feeling at the top of that arc. You know, I couldn't really get into that position. I'm not as athletic as we're trying to make this guy. So now we can push the posing to make it feel more interesting and get more contrast out of that squash and stretch. So we'll go from this stretch pose here to the squash at the top. And maybe we can crunch that up even more. So let's just have a look at the curves on this thing. I'm just going to switch to gimbal so that I see the true rotation curves, and I can see I need rotate X. So I'm going to isolate that curve and just pull this curve up to make him move further forward. And it looks like that could be pretty cool. I think that'll feel good. I just want to ease that into it a little bit more smoothly rather than hammering into there. I think I want that tuck just to carry on a little bit longer as he starts to fall, so I'm just going to grab this key on the curve here and just raise it up to get a smoother curve. And then as he is falling, I want him to lean back even further. So we get quite straight, and then when we hit, we can feel it move forward. But I might just make that happen a frame later. A frame later still, what happens there? And then because that landing has happened and the hips have hit the ground, I then want to try and get the feeling of the chest continuing its motion down. So I think I'm going to have to just drop that like this, so it just continues its motion down, and then just let it rise a little bit later, so it's offsetting the motion of the hips and the chest. So the hips are leading, the chest is following, the hips go down, the chest rotates back, the hips land, and you don't have the chest start to drop down as quick as the hips. The hips are leading that motion. Maybe even let's see what happens if I just keep that back an extra frame, so that then the chest overlaps that action. And that's just another frame there. So then you've got the hips going up and the chest going down, and then the hips get to the top of their motion, and then the chest starts to catch up, and then the hips come down, and then a little bit after you might just get, there you go, the chest would start to just come down as well, and then we'll flatten off that last curve. And how does that feel in motion? Cool, pleased with that. I think that has brought a whole lot more to our jump. It feels more organic, the body feels like there's a skeleton in there, the bounce feels good, it feels more appealing. I think that was time well spent, and it didn't take too long just to add some offset to the chest from the hips, get some lead and follow, and I think that is good. So well done for doing that. Let's move on. Let's call that first pass animation done for the chest.